Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. We're going to go into a single storyline. Hang on. There's a deck that I am looking for. And did I find it? Yes, I did. All right. Let's get started, shall we? So I try to put these guys out every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, unless life gets in the way, which it does sometimes, but not today. So happy Wednesday, everybody. We have card 43. Details, details, and we have clarity, and we have all kinds of images of knowledge. If someone has been seeking wisdom about what direction to go, I feel like this could be somebody who is very interested in their own, whether it's horoscope or learning more about astrology or astrological placings. They may be very intrigued by this, and they may be using this kind of knowledge as a either just to fulfill an interest that they have, or maybe they're using it to like delve a little deeper into who they are as a person and evaluate, does this, describe me? Does it not? Are these traits really relevant to me? I'm just going to throw this out there because I'm a fictional storyteller, not a psychic. And I've always said that since the beginning of my channel. But the one thing that I am more intrigued by, because I'm a huge Virgo, more Virgo than anything in my chart. I'm a double Virgo to start with, and then it's all over the place. I care more about my North Node. I've said this for pretty much all the years of my channel as well. The North Node is kind of like where a character is going in life. And so I kind of like that placement, just because I think that's more fun, more interesting for me. So doesn't have anything to do with reality. I'm still who I'm going to be ultimately. Free will makes us have our own choices. But I think that stuff is interesting and fun to read about. With that details, the only reason I mention that and kind of tell a personal anecdote like that is because this is a character who's very interested, and we have the zodiacal wheel here, and we have kind of a model of the movement of the planets, and we have somebody seeking clarity, seeking wisdom. So I think someone's looking for a particular piece of information. Now, it could be that maybe there will be something really marvelous. I will say, 4 plus 3 being 7. 7 is a divine number. Now, 43 could be somebody's age. It could be a date. Maybe something fabulous happened on the 3rd of April that a character is thinking back over. Maybe there was some significant idea that came to mind. But the bottom line is they're seeking additional information and clarity about the minutia. So what is this about? Ace of Swords. So we didn't change anything. We're still looking for deep clarity. And we have these night blooming datura on this, which datura are actually toxic as well. And they can cause all kinds of terrible symptoms if ingested, including like the lack of ability to see. And I think when we put something like that, looking for clarity, and the sword is coming right out of the datura, to me, this kind of makes me think that someone was unable to see something for what it was. They needed to see a truth. And so our single character has been looking for truth. Maybe they were dealing with something that was a little bit, we'll say, noxious, something that was not very good for them, and they saw the truth of that. Like, wow, I was really stuck in maybe a toxic cycle, or that situation, or that thought process, or that activity, or that person. I didn't see it, but I see it now. That was really maybe something that was not great for me, because the Ace of Swords is used to cut something free. But I really think a character had to look a little deeper to understand what it was that they needed to be free of. We have a 4 of Wands going to the High Priestess. The 4 of Wands is beautiful. In no way do I think that somebody had to cut away this belief that there was, this person was supposed to be my perfect marriage partner. I mean, it could be that, but remember, we're dealing with a single character, so I'm not going to look at it in the same way. I'm going to look at it more like we have a character who has figured out more about themselves, figured out maybe some truths about why in the past they chose certain situations. They also have learned what is not healthy for themselves. And now they are able to understand from a really deep, profound level that they're on the right path to get to their Four of Wands. What this character ultimately wants is a really beautiful, really happy, I think they have a very clear vision of either what kind of life they want to live or what kind of partner they want to have. The Four of Wands can be like a spiritual marriage. And I think this says our character's intuition is on point. Once upon a time, it wasn't, but they are very much on point now. They know it. There's an overall sense of well-being, which makes sense because anytime we cut out something that is bad for us, things get better. We feel better. Everything gets better. So I'm going to say that for this storyline, to me, it looks like we have a character who is aware that they are going in the right direction now. They're on the right path. I do think this is a character who's headed for a fantastic romance because I think they know they've almost had either visions of what a connection would look like. They might meet somebody when they're out trudging through the forest. Maybe they want to meet an outdoorsy person. But we have a character who has really, I'll say maybe prophetic dreams as well. They may, this is so funny, but just the way that bat has his little wings wrapped around himself. This could be somebody that likes to burrito wrap themselves in their blankets. We have the Fool card and we have the Knight of Wands. So we have a single character who is definitely ready to go ahead and test the waters. You notice that we have this wolf stepping on what is thin ice, and the ice is even starting to crack, but they're looking intently at that rabbit. Okay, so if our character is on the right path to find the right kind of connection, what they really want, the happy life that they'd like to have, the kind of partnership that they'd like to have, and they intuitively recognize, wow, maybe for a while I had been seeking the wrong kind of connection, but now I'm not. This feels like a character who is aware that sometimes they will go for even the flashy. And I think this character is reflecting. And they're like, wow, in the past, I maybe took leaps of faith and tried to give my heart to people that didn't have staying power. If I'm aware of that now, and I can smell that from a mile away. You know what I almost think? I think that this is a character who's acknowledging that once upon a time when they would be thinking about dating or they'd be thinking about, meeting someone, getting to date someone, I think the kinds of people that they were drawn to could have been a little flashy, but also not the kind of people that they could have really had long-term connection with. Like maybe they were drawn in by the excitement, the power, the passion. Page of Wands, Five of Wands. That's not what they're drawn to anymore. In fact, if anything, they might find themselves being attracted to the same old, and say, wait a second. No, this is what I'm not going to do. I know what a Four of Wands look like, and it's not maybe dealing with the Knight of Wands. This is something that I've learned. This, even here, we have somebody like spying from down below. All of this feels like a single character who has gotten it in their head. I know what I'm really looking for. But they are going to be tested one more time, or they're going to be drawn to the wrong thing one more time, because knowing something and putting it into action is two different things, right? So although this character is having this major breakthrough, they're understanding themselves better, they're understanding why they were drawn to something toxic or something not good for them, and they know that they want better. The first thing they do is they kind of get drawn to another Knight of Wands. And then they go, whoa, pump the brakes. Remember, self, this is what we learned. We're not looking for that anymore. Okay, let me get one other influencer. The Black Pearl, gluttony. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. Okay, so this has been the big, I'll say like the big mystery. This character, the reason they would end up in the past with Knights of Wands or people that weren't really great for them is simply because they didn't understand this concept. Knight of Wands can be somebody that comes rushing in look, our lead character is probably super attractive, right? So who wants them? Everybody, especially single Knight of Wands that look for something shiny, someone beautiful. So they come in and they start to pursue. But the thing is, it's about the conquest. It's about, I want you because you're really attractive. I haven't met somebody like you, so I want someone like you. But again, I'll never be contented because the Knight of Wands can sometimes be on this perpetual quest for excitement and thrill. That is, those knights will always come toward anyone fabulous, right? Anyone that they're interested in because they see that person as fabulous. So on one hand, that if we could look at it that way, then the truth of it is the Knight of Wands are not actually being insulting. They're actually being quite complimentary, right? They're saying, you're so attractive, I drawn in like a magnet. But they don't have staying power because it's all about the gluttony aspect. So for our character, they might have had a hard time discerning, like, okay, I don't get it though. Why is somebody coming toward me? I know what I want. I know what I want to attract. I know I want long term. But why is somebody coming toward me that has no staying power? Why do these knights keep approaching? And it's like the knights will always approach because that's what they do. They're hungry all the time. They're never going to stop being hungry until maybe they mature or they grow or they learn something about themselves. Until then, this character is going to keep having knights come toward them. The difference is now they block the knights. Now they think about it and they go, wait a minute, is this knight behavior? Or do they show me that they have staying power? So to understand why someone has been that knight, why do the knights come toward me? Why is it yet again I meet the same kind of person? Because there's a bunch of those out there. But guess what? There's also these kinds of people out there. Only the emperors and empresses ride in chariots. Very different energy from a knight. This person approaches too, but they come in with confidence. Now, here's the thing: as intuitive as our character is, and our character has come across now as a high priestess, an emperor can be direct, but they can also take a little bit more time. And the way that they present an offer or say that they're interested, they may not have the same flashy pizzazz. They haven't learned how to market their skills because that's not what they put their energy into. They've put their energy into the real product, which is themselves. But they maybe don't market themselves, whereas a Knight of Wands markets themselves, right? So our high priestess, as intuitive as they are, they may not even recognize that there is somebody who is a very like solid, interested party, because they're not coming in with bells and whistles. They're not coming in with the gift of gab. They're not coming in with the swagger that a Knight of Wands has. So with this hidden or unknown factor, let me get one more on this because I feel like our character won't recognize this amazing person coming in on their chariot at first. Page of Cups. There's got to be some kind of like our character has to expect a different tempo. If they're used to knights and then they're like, but why do people come in so hot and heavy? I can tell they really like me, but then they don't stick around because they were just knights, right? An emperor is going to start way slower than that. They may not come in hot and heavy. They may not give those buzzword compliments and things like that. So our character they're going to have to be more sensitive to the softer approach, to the calmer approach, to the more subtle approach. And that is something maybe they haven't actually experienced yet because maybe they haven't dealt with an emperor or an empress before. Picking up on the more subtle, it's almost like the difference between like really, let's say really loud, raucous comedians versus the really, really like dry ones. Like I'm thinking like Stephen Wright. I love Stephen Wright's super dry humor, right? But you got to sit and listen to it. And then, it gets funnier and funnier. There's just a different tempo. And I'm not saying that louder, more ruckus comedians aren't, every bit as skilled. I'm not trying to liken them to being like the knights. But I'm just saying there's a definite different tempo, a more subtle energy that could also be more sincere, less pizzazzy, but more sincere. But our character maybe isn't used to this. So they have to change their own expectation, I'll say. What I'm getting at is I think the person that our single character is really going to match well with is going to be someone that they could almost easily overlook, because although this character riding in on their chariot is so valuable, they're so different from what our lead character has known. This is going to be like night and day difference. This could be somebody where they would, once they get together with this person, they could, tell a story to their friends where they're like, I would never have known that they were even someone I would be drawn to. This is so different. They're not like anybody else I ever dated. Their whole approach was different. They everything about them was different, and I almost didn't notice, even though I was around them for 2 months before I noticed them. And now I'm like, how could I not have seen them? How could somebody this amazing have been almost invisible to my eyes? Simply because they show up with a different energy. And when it's an energy, our character's been used to gluttony, they've been used to pizzazz, they've been used to people that chase them around for short duration. Like they're hungry, they want that goal of getting with our partner and then disappearing. This person has long-term intentions. So there's not a race, and there's not pickup lines probably, and there's not all the stuff that our character's been used to. This is going to develop, and we start slow and then it gets better. So it's step-by-step process. Whereas those knights came in and they would jump into a relationship. Like the knights might say, I love you after 12 hours of knowing our character, and they were used to people that were just like, heady, exciting romances. And if someone takes, 3 weeks of, hey, let's go out once a week for 3 weeks as we get to know each other, maybe before they even share any intense, passionate kiss, that could be almost mistaken for like, oh, they're not that into me. Because I'm used to knights. Knights want to, talk about marriage by the end of the first 6-hour date. And they don't mean a word of it. It's just what they say. This person is coming across so different. And so what's interesting, and I think the purpose of this whole story, so, in my fictional stories, I always look for what's the big message. The big message here is not that our character has been doing things wrong, okay? But they don't have a reference point for this kind of relationship, something more solid, more real, and the way that might progress. They've been used to things that happen really, really fast, kind of like that start in the middle. This is going to go step by step, and they could almost be unaware that this character even cares about them, or unaware that they're going to fall head over heels with this particular person, simply because this is so different. The tempo is so different. I really like this one because it's showing, just how much we can be conditioned for things to go in a certain way. And even if we go, okay, I don't want what I've used to have, I want something real and solid, but we still don't know what that looks like from the starting point, because that's the thing that our character hasn't experienced before. So I really like this one, and I'm so happy for our character. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Take care. I will see you guys again soon. Well, Friday for another singles read. Bye.